ordinance amendment.
This meeting of the City of Eureka Springs City Council come to order. The clerk will call roll, please.
David Mitchell.
Here.
James DeVito.
Here.
Joyce Zeller.
Here.
Terry McClung.
Here.
Vicky Schneider.
Here.
Dee Purkeypile absent with notice.
Now, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next will be approval of the agenda. Motion to discuss.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right. Changes, deletions, corrections, Ms. Snyder.
Okay. Under unfinished business, items 6 and 11, I would like to postpone until the March 24th meeting.
6.
Yeah, 6 and 11. 7, yeah, we better make it 6, 7, and 11.
Until March 24th? All
Right.
of them? Okay.
Right.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further? Mr. Mitchell.
We got a email that number 1 was being postponed by
Yes.
request of the attorney, and then number 2 is obviously postponed too. I just wanted to
That's
point
correct.
that out. And
And-
also number 5, the Clean City workshop. I think we have not got that scheduled firmed up yet, so we need to postpone that too.
I
since
thought
we
that
haven't
was
had the workshop.
Wednesday.
Well, it's after this meeting, so we need to postpone it till next time anyway.
5.
So
Second.
1, 2, 5, 6, 7, and 11. It looks like.
This one I have on unfinished. Also, we have number 1 under new business is postponed until March the 10th. Any further? That brings us right down to the nitty-gritty on issues. It should be a short meeting, we hope. Okay, let's see if we
Motion
can
to
get out of
approve.
here by 6:30.
Do we need a motion to approve as amended?
Second.
Yes, we will. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Wait,
Okay, but
I forgot I wanted to add one little 2-minute thing.
one little
I
2-minute
can't read my
thing.
own notes. Yeah, under, I guess, new.
Okay,
It's a proposal I want to give to the council.
number 3 under
On what?
unfinished. Go ahead.
If you want a second,
What's
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
subject?
In regards to the Bricks property, to kind of
The what property?
the Bricks property, in order to
Point of order.
make it clear, whatever.
Point of
Point of
order.
order, sir.
That should be an agenda item so that the public would have notice of discussion of this.
No, no, it's not that kind of a proposal. It's something I want to ask you guys. Are you interested? Then, if it becomes
Okay,
an agenda item, I'll add it on.
You can talk about it in the city under.
That's
comments,
that property is on
It
the
has-
agenda for next.
It would have to be added to this agenda to be discussed. Under
Yeah,
new
like I
business.
just want to throw a proposal out, and
But
that's
we
it.
can't
No
add stuff to the
discussion, no
agenda
nothing.
now, right now, I don't think.
Just to throw an idea out
Council comments if you want.
You put it on the council comments if you want to talk about that one.
there. Okay.
Okay. Well, send me an email.
Anybody
Yeah.
else? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign? Okay. All right, that moves us to approval of the minutes for February the 10th, 2014.
Move to approve.
Second.
Changes, deletions, corrections. If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign? Motion carried. Minutes approved. Brings us to Commission Committee Authority Reports for expired terms. I don't think we have anybody here from planning. Nobody here from CAPC. You should have 2 applications in your packet for renewal of on HDC, I believe it is. Is that correct? Yes, Dee Bright. I put them under the wrong one. Yeah, for Dee Bright and Doug Breitling. Yes, sir.
I would move to accept the nomination of Dee Bright.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Yes, Mr. McClung.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve Mr. Doug Breitling.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. And I don't think we have any other comments from any of the commissions. Brings us to public comment. We have two on the list. First is Mr. Dick Titus. Hey, Dick. How are you, sir?
My name's Dick Titus. I live at 12 White Street, and I just came down to see how y'all are doing. Been worried about you.
We appreciate that, Dick.
It's so quiet in here. There's no controversy or anything. It's great. I developed some property on Owen Street, and there's not many houses back there, and a lot of people walk their dogs down that alley, and it's gravel. So I found out we don't have an ordinance to have people pick up after their dogs, which was kind of strange to me. So anyway, I went to Fayetteville's website, picked up their ordinance, and looked at a couple of others, and I have a proposal for an ordinance that I would like to have put on the next agenda to have it discussed, and I have copies for everybody. But basically what it says is that each animal owner is responsible to pick up after their animal. And the second part of the ordinance is that you have to carry something with you to pick up after your dog. You can't just say, I'm going to pick it up. And the third thing is that it would be a violation with a fine of $25, and that, of course, is negotiable. So it's just something that would make my life easier. Most people are pretty considerate. They take their dog on around to an undeveloped piece, but because mine's been vacant for 20-something years, I guess they're used to going there. But I've about had it with stepping in it and kneeling in it, and when I work on my property back there, it seems to be like a dog park. So I've put up signs, and most people are pretty respectful of it, but I have a couple that seem to not care. So if there was an ordinance, I could at least state it to them. And
Yeah, you can pass it out.
Okay.
For consideration.
And that's it. And I appreciate y'all considering that, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Whatever happened to that pooper ordinance?
Susie
that
Allen.
we had? Did we ever pass that? That was before your time, I think.
No, we did have an ordinance.
It didn't go.
No, I thought we had.
Didn't we even want
Come on in
special
here.
cans for that, didn't we? Garbage cans for that?
How are
It was
you?
a basin park, but I thought it was.
Please state your name.
Yeah, I thought we had
I'm
ordinance.
Susie Allen, and I own the property at
We're gonna need
120
this.
North Main, which is right below the water main break. It's actually happened twice, once on German Alley and once closer to Main, off of German Alley, but in the middle there. The first time it happened was in June of 2010, and I had just moved here, had no idea what I needed to do to get things fixed, and spend a lot of my own money. I'm asking just for the $2,500 deductible that I had to pay that time. This time, I did not have nearly the inside damage that I had the last time, and I have had Public Works come by, and they removed the debris behind the property right now, and I had people come in and pull up the tiles that I had put in, mop, scrub the floor, and Clorox it, put the tiles back down, and move all the furniture back. And I'm asking for reimbursement for that, and that has come to $750. I did not file an insurance claim this time because I did not have to replace drywall and electrical and all of that like I did the first time. And if Public Works comes with more gravel for the driveways, or driveway on one side and the parking lot on the other, then that will be my total cost for this cleanup of the water main break. I would like to get on the agenda, see if I could get some reimbursement.
What's the procedure for this?
Somebody has to pick it up here and get a second, get it on the agenda for next time.
Do we do that when we do the agenda setting?
I can?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Can't be done now. This is public comment.
Oh, we can right now? Or we
No, you
cannot?
cannot.
Okay.
What was the name again? I'm sorry.
Susie Allen,
Allen. Okay.
Allen.
Okay, we'll add you to the agenda.
I'm on the agenda then?
Not for tonight, for the next.
Yes,
one.
right,
Okay.
for the next time. You let me know when I need to come back with the receipts and everything.
As long as she's got your number or
Okay.
one of these two.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Take care. All right. No more other public comments. We moves us to unfinished business. Number 1 and 2 have been postponed. Leaves us number 3, ordinance for vacating property with processing fee. Motion to discuss.
So moved.
Second.
Floor is open. Yes, sir, Mr.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Weaver has prepared an ordinance for this. He did so today. It looks good. There's only one thing that I was going to show him that I thought might be an addition into it. It would be instead of right there, it paid that it'd be would be submitted with the application. Just a slight change in the wording. But I would, if the others have looked at this, this is a good time to ask questions, and if there's not a problem, then maybe we can put it up for its first reading. So,
Ms. Snyder?
Okay, so that's what I was trying to find out at the beginning. If there's a mild difference between within the 320, within limits outside of the 320, could we only do it with one separate paragraph, probably 1 or 2 lines, same price, same procedure, same everything, it just clarifies the difference between the two pieces? Would that suffice?
I don't think that separating it into 2 paragraphs would necessarily, unless you're going to make the application fee non-returnable on one or the other, would make any difference. Now, I did bring you an email that I got, and I'm sorry, didn't get stapled because I printed it off just a little while ago. But if you will take one of those, talking about the city disposing of real estate is a discussion that's going on right now between the various city attorneys around the state and Mr. Schoen. And he's talking about disposing of city real estate without getting full compensation. And if you will look at Mr. Schoen's opinion there, he's saying actually you could probably sell a piece of real estate, the way I read his understanding, without getting the appraised value. And if that's the case, then what Mr. McClung is suggesting, that we would dispose of these little tiny pieces without getting appraised value, then I think we may be okay. But you're going to have to do it by doing the analysis that Mr. Schoen is suggesting, that we are showing that it's to the benefit of the city to dispose of these little pieces without getting full appraised value by virtue of some other benefit to the city. And that benefit to the city could be that it's increasing the landowner's tax bill or some other thing, but you're going to have to each time make that analysis. And if we do that, then I don't have a problem with the way this is worded at all.
Okay,
unless we find a very large piece somewhere that's getting disposed of.
Okay, well, to continue on with my question, because you even said non-negotiable or non-returnable, aren't we like the second or third step? Don't they go through parks and/or planning first, and they come to us when they're appealing?
It's not actually appealing. It goes through steps there, and each of those have the right to make suggestions of whether it should be passed on. Only the city council can dispose of these.
Okay, so
the parks can't turn them over. They can make their suggestion.
Okay, so
planning can't turn them over. They
so
can
if
make
parks
their
and
suggestion.
planning both say yes and we say yes, okay, that's fine. If parks and/or planning says no and they come to us to appeal their decision and to ask us to do it, that's the other scenario, right?
It's not really an appeal. Everybody uses the word appeal, including most of the petitioners. But it's ultimately the decision is always at this table.
All right, if someone says no and they want to continue on, this is just our next step.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is the 200 the where's the word? The application. Shouldn't it just be known? We shouldn't have it. It should just plain be a fee, as opposed to an application that can be returned, because they already know by the time they come to us pretty much what the standing is.
Well, the anticipation, the way I understand it, would be that they would pay that fee to the city when they first came forward with the proposal, when they first petitioned the city, before they go to parks, before they go to planning, before they come here. And from the way I understand Mr. McClung's point of view, and he's been kind of the point man that the council gave me to talk to, is that his proposal is that that money can be returned if we don't vacate the alley or the street. And it gives me a moment's pause, and I've told him this before, that it almost sounds kind of like we're selling what we have or don't have, depending whether it's in or outside the 320, if we don't take the money regardless. But I don't know that too many people is going to, as Mr. McClung said, have a real problem with getting money back. They tend to have a problem when they don't get their money back, if they don't get what they want. And that's what the city's encountered over the years.
So, in other words, what you're saying is, by allowing them to get their application fee back if they are denied, this should cause less trouble.
Well, with at least the applicant. I mean, it potentially could have someone else in the city saying you didn't get fair market value for selling a piece of property. But that's where I think if we do the analysis that Mr. Schoen is talking about, we cover that problem too, so that we don't end up with a viable lawsuit by a taxpayer saying you're giving away my property,
Okay.
the city's property.
Mr. Mitchell, you're next.
It's very specific, vacating streets or alleys. We're not talking about vacating, say, a parcel of land. We're just talking about streets and alleys. And streets and alleys usually are 15 foot wide or something like that and X length of long. So we're not talking about a large quantity of land. We're talking about a pretty restrictive amount of land. No?
Generally speaking, most of the ones that I've seen inside the city limits are about 25 to 30 feet wide. An arterial street can be wider than that. I don't know how many we have that are actually plotted as arterial streets. I was told by one of our street people several years ago that we have some. I've never actually seen one that's wide enough to be a lot. But I was told that there was a couple in the city, and I suppose that what rests under 23 out here, or what rests under maybe Spring Street, might be that wide, because arterial streets are usually wider so that they can be developed later to add center lanes or more outside lanes.
So I got off on 15 foot thinking of Hartman Street, but so we talk about 30 foot wide. Most of them we're giving away or selling or whatever is maybe 100 foot long. So we're talking maybe 300 some square feet. I don't think we're going to be in too much trouble.
Well, I don't think necessarily we have a problem if we do the analysis that Mr. Schoen's talking about here, that we show that that really isn't a benefit to the city to go through a long procedure to get a few dollars. That it's better off to shed the city of a piece of real estate that we have control over, and therefore potentially have liability to keep clean and other things.
So what elements of that process would we have to do at council, or would parks have to do it, or planning have to do it, or would we have to do it?
It could come at any of the stages.
And you know the processes, the steps we would have to demonstrate each time to meet that requirement?
Basically, what he's saying here is that there's not really been a court case that's ever defined exactly what the benefit has to be or what the other, but that we go through a process by which we decide that that there is an advantage to the city for not charging the full appraised value. And so we have to come up with something that particular, giving that piece of property back or releasing our hold on it is valuable to the city.
Mr. McClung?
Mr. Mayor and Council, he's right. We're talking about streets and alleys, not parcels of land. It's not. I believe if you got a hold of Mr. Schoen this evening, he would tell you he's not referring to any vacations of streets or alleys. He's talking about parcels of land. It's already established for vacations, the procedure that we follow. That's already done. It's put out by state statute. Now, you also take into the consideration of that whenever you take these streets, many of the time, most of the time, one side goes to one property owner, the other side goes to the other. So if you got a 30-foot street, it's 15 feet going each direction. So it's, we are doing our due diligence when we look at that and decide that the city is able to survive and go on without it, that it's not an asset to the city as a street, and we do that right here at the table. We've taken care of what we need to take care of. Now, you cannot tell me when a residential property, an appraisal for a home is in the neighborhood of $350 to $500 for that appraisal, and they're not going to charge you any less. In fact, it'll be probably more because there aren't comps for sales of property that are 15 feet wide and 60 feet long. They don't exist. What are you going to do? So, they have basically no intrinsic value other than what the tax collector's office or assessor's office will apply to that, which won't be a lot either, but it gets attached to their existing property, and we go on forward and forget about it. It's done. Be done with it. Let's not make it difficult.
Mr. Weaver, you had your hand up.
Well, I understand what you're saying, Mr. McClung, but I would like to correct one thing. With the land that is inside the 320, we could technically deed that to either side of the property owner. We don't have to deed the entire piece half and half. And sometimes it's been done that way because there are existing structures that are built in that area, and so we will give a larger portion or sell a larger portion of that to one landowner or the other. And there's no requirement that we divide it half and half inside the 320. We do, if we vacate a street outside the 320, it goes back to the original landowners, which is half and half. But inside, it's a wider strip potentially for one side or the other, and it could be of greater value then.
Mr. Mitchell?
Just one comment, and then I appreciate Alderman McClung's endeavors to inject the process of equity into the vacating of streets and alleys among residents, and property owners, and interested parties, because equity is pretty important. Therefore, I make a motion to assign this ordinance a number and have its first reading.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Stand by. Mr. Weaver?
Mr. McClung, before they read it, do you want to add your wording? I don't have a problem at all with your wording as opposed to the way I had on that one little part.
Go ahead.
In the towards the, it'd be the second line from the bottom of 9.0808. The $200 application fee is where he has is paid. I would suggest we put unless a $200 application fee is submitted with the application. It's taking out the word paid and replacing it submitted, that the 200 is submitted with the application. It just gives it a better
ring.
Yeah, it does. It has a
To read unless a $200 application fee is submitted with the application.
Yes.
Okay.
The ordinance number will be 2203. An ordinance to amend Chapter 9 of the Eureka Springs Municipal Code, vacating streets and alleys. Whereas the City Council believes that Chapter 9 of the Municipal Code needs changes to more effectively deal with the issue of streets and alley vacations. Now therefore be it hereby ordained by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, Section 1, that Section 9.08.08 of the Municipal Code is hereby amended to read as follows: 9.08.08, vacating streets or alleys. In all instances where a property owner within the city seeks to have a street or alley vacated, the property owner must comply with the procedure set out in ACA 14-301-301 et sec. In determining whether to vacate the street or alley, the City Council will consider how its decision will affect the green space, will ensure the decision is in the best interest of the city, and in no instance will the street or alley be vacated unless a $200 application fee is submitted with the application. The application fee shall be returned to the applicant if the City Council shall deny the vacation request. Section 2. All ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 3. That in the event that any section, paragraph, subdivision, clause, phrase, or other provision or portion of this ordinance shall be adjudged invalid or unconstitutional, the same shall not affect the validity of this ordinance, code, section, or chapter as a whole, or any part or provision other than the part so decided to be invalid or unconstitutional, and the remaining provisions of the ordinance, code, section, or chapter shall remain in effect.
Mr. DeVito.
Move to approve ordinance number 2203 on its first reading.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Thank you. All right, brings us to number 4, discussion of film industry tax incentives, and Ms. Sandy Martin is here to address, so we need a motion to discuss.
So moved.
Second? All right. Ms. Sandy?
Thank you. Here to give you an update real quickly. Teresa Camino and I went to Little Rock last week and met with the film commissioner, Christopher Crane, and Courtney Pleasure. And a couple of critical things happened. One is they invited us to have a permanent seat on the AMPI board, which is the Arkansas Motion Picture Institute. So they're kind of considering us pretty serious, with that. So we did accept that position, and we'll rotate that position with different people. We talked to Christopher about drafting the ordinance and the motion for CAPC and the City Council. His legal team and their auditors are wrapped up in the fiscal session right now. That will end, he thinks, in the next week or 2 weeks. At that point, we'll go back down and start drafting, and he suggested drafting an ordinance, a skeleton ordinance for you all to look at that requests 2% tax rebate, and then a motion to amend the bylaws for the CAPC for 3% to get us to the 5% total. So that's what we've been working on. He did make a commitment that by March 24th or at the latest, the April 14th council meeting, he will be up here and we will be ready to present the skeleton ordinance so that we can get into the meat of things. That's my update.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, guys. Any further discussion on this issue? If not, we'll move along. Number 5, 6, and 7 have been postponed, and brings us to, I can spit it out in a minute. Ordinance reclaiming portion of Sweeney Alley. Motion to discuss.
So moved.
To assign this ordinance a number and places for its first reading.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Bill 2204. Pursuant to Chapter 12.02.01E of the Municipal Code of the City of Eureka Springs, to reclaim jurisdiction over certain property commonly known as parts of Sweeney Alley. Whereas the City Council of Eureka Springs, Arkansas has been petitioned to vacate certain land now held as a green zone by the Parks and Recreation Commission, and whereas Section 12.08.01E of the Eureka Springs Municipal Code allows the City Council to reclaim jurisdiction over the following section of green zone to make further discussions of the petition. Now, therefore,
be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Green Springs, Arkansas, Section 1, as described below, are hereby removed from the jurisdiction of the Parks and Recreation Commission for the further consideration by the City Council of Green Springs, Arkansas. Between the alley line between lot 7 and lot 171 and lot of Armstrong Survey, the City of Green Springs, Carroll County Park. Northwest corner of lot 7, lot 171, and south 85 degrees, 16 seconds east, notice north 7 degrees, 30 minutes, 24 seconds north, distance of 16 feet. Then north 85 degrees, 16 minutes, 8 seconds for a distance of 4.57 feet. And south 7 degrees, 1 minute, 15 seconds for a distance of 16 feet. Back to the open public hearing. Section 2, the provisions of this ordinance are hereby declared inacceptable, and if any provision shall render these inapplicable or invalid, such holding shall not affect the validity of the remainder of this ordinance. Section 3, all ordinances and solutions, parts thereof, conflict therewith, hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict.
Move to approve ordinance number 22, quorum is first reading, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, this is number 9. And ordinance removing animals. Did I get it right there?
Motion
C3
to motion to discuss.
Second.
Okay, floor's open. Mr. Mitchell.
And a motion to assign this ordinance a number on its first reading.
Second.
Any discussion on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Notice removing the word animals from the list of elements prohibited for use in the performance of business in C3 quiet use commercial zones. Whereas the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, has reviewed the current code section of the Eureka Springs Municipal Code animals in C3 quiet use commercial zones. Whereas it has been determined that it is in the best interest of the city to amend the code. Now therefore, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, Section 1, that the code section 43.08.01 reference the animals in the list of elements prohibited for use in the performance of businesses in quiet use zones is hereby removed. Section 2 is severability clause. In the event that any section, subsection, paragraph, subdivision, clause, phrase, or other provision or portion of this ordinance shall be read invalid or unconstitutional, the same shall not affect the validity of this ordinance, code section, or chapter as a whole. For any part or provision other than the part so decided to be invalid or unconstitutional, the remaining provisions of this ordinance, code section, or chapter shall remain in effect. Section 3, repeal clause. All ordinances, resolutions, and parts thereof, in conflict herewith, are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, brings us to number 10, ordinance increasing parking rates for special events.
That got postponed.
I'm sorry.
Motion to discuss.
Did number 10 get postponed? I missed
Oh,
it?
my apology.
Number 11, okay.
11.
All right, number 10 is still on the board. We
Motion
got
to
a
discuss.
Motion and a second. Motion to discuss, floor is open.
Do we have a second? Sorry.
Yes, we
have
did.
that.
We didn't have a
Second.
second. Sure. I think Terry cut that. Yes, sir.
I think we need that old parking rate increase ordinance, and we don't seem to have it, so I move that we postpone it.
Second.
2189?
Oh, you have the old one? I'm sorry. Is that
Yes.
the one we had originally? Yeah. Oh, okay, but I don't have mine. If everybody else does it, I'll withdraw my motion.
I forgot to bring it.
I would still move to postpone because I don't think,
Second.
I don't have the information with me. I apologize.
Yeah, I forgot to bring it.
Oh,
And I don't have it.
I withdraw my motion, I think.
Postpone?
Okay, if you withdraw it, then it's still on the table.
I And then somebody else can make one to
Okay,
postpone,
all right.
right?
Yeah,
Mr.
I
DeVito will make the
move
motion.
to postpone
Second.
to the next meeting.
Second.
Made by Mr. Mitchell. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, number 11 is postponed also. Brings us to new business. I know we've just got one, but I need to take like a 5-minute break.
Oh, come on.
Well, it's one way or the other. We're taking it. I'll take it. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
We can just end the meeting
Then
now.
we'll sit
Mr. T's going to change colors, I bet.
We'll be back in session. Thank you for the break. It was very much appreciated. Brings us into new business. Number 1 has been postponed. Leaves us with number 2, discussion of the 2015 budget process.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
Floor is open. Mr. Mitchell.
This last year is of going through the budget process I found to be most interesting based on my background in healthcare and budget processings in large institutions. And I talked to Lonnie a lot about zero-based budgeting and did we use that concept? And he said yes, and I think in a way partially we do. But what I find interesting is that the ultimate responsibility for the fiscal or the fiduciary the fiduciary responsibility rests with council. But somehow we're at the end of the process, not the beginning of the process. Likewise, the budgets don't come to us until around the 1st of December. We only meet once in December. We pretty well have to have it wrapped up and done by January. We do that after the department heads all work on the budget. But my question, and I want to pose to council, is where is the leadership and the thought processes going along with it? What the council sees based on representing our constituents, what we see based on all of our other accumulated education, and how that goes into the process. Because again, we're at the very end of it, not at the beginning. So what I was suggesting, or would like people to consider, is that after the third quarter results come out in September, the council, the mayor, and the director of finance meet and discuss the priorities for the city, especially related to our fiduciary responsibilities and where we're going. Do we see revenues going up? Do we see property taxes, et cetera, et cetera? And then put some of that in and leave that with the mayor to work with the department heads and the director of finance to develop a budget. Then it comes to us instead of the 1st of December, the 1st of November, so that if we have questions and opportunities to go over various things like salary increases that are needed for a particular job category where we don't really get any specific data as to the salary scales that were used to make modifications in what we're asking to do, and some more supporting data, that we would have an opportunity. So it's just a matter of switching or considering switching around the process so that leadership is at the beginning.
Anybody else? Mr. Mitchell, Mr. McClung, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It seemed like when I was on council before that we got the budget at an earlier time, and we got to look at it for a longer period and to go through it like the 1st of November. I think we used to do that.
Yeah.
Ms. Zeller?
I remember back in the good old days too. We would get the proposals from the department heads. It would be sort of like their preliminary thing in a folder that would have all their expenses for us to look at before we actually voted on the budget. I think it might fulfill David's wish if each department head possibly by October. I should be on. I'm not on? Yeah, I thought I was. Okay. Oh, well, did it really matter? If each department head by October would present not the complete budget, but their plans for budgeting, their priorities, and what they anticipate as their financial needs are,
so that then we could have a meeting to go over this with the finance director. I think having kind of a preview of what the department heads have in mind and what their needs are probably would be a good idea. Then that would give us kind of an overview of what we're going to be looking at. Do you think, David? Does that fulfill your needs?
I think it fulfills the fiduciary responsibilities that is inherent in a council member that we've done due diligence to protect the city's assets and provide leadership to the department heads.
Okay.
It appears to me now, and I know that's not the case, and I don't mean to say this in a negative light, it appears that the department heads are leading council, and I think council should be leading the department heads. I said I'd be careful. But that's the way I feel.
Say it nicely.
I did, I think.
Anything else? All right, move this out of new business into agenda setting. Mr. DeVito.
I would like to bring up the topic at the next meeting of the city and the hospital, the future of the hospital commission. I've questioned for years whether or not it was wise for the city to be in the hospital business, and what with the recent things coming out with the present leaseholders on the hospital, I think that we need to have this conversation. So I'd like to have discussion of the hospital and the hospital commission on the next agenda.
Second that, for sure.
The next one is the 24th.
Whenever our next meeting is
10th of March.
10th of March.
You want it March 10th then?
Please.
Would it be possible to are we privy to a set of financials from the hospital commission?
No. It's managed. Oh, the hospital commission.
The commission,
Yeah,
yes.
the commission.
Yeah,
Are we
still
privy
the
to a
city-
set of financials?
Still the city commission, yeah.
So we know what's going on there?
The commission we are, yeah, but not the hospital management company.
Well, okay.
Anything else, Mr. DeVito?
No, that's all.
Okay. Mr. McClung?
I have nothing.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes, topic of wedding licenses.
Pick up ordinance.
There's, on the CAPC website, there the wedding things, there, my inn is listed there, I don't do weddings. Melissa Greene's cottages uptown is listed, they don't do weddings. So the question has been posed to me, since there's potentially so few wedding licenses, why even have wedding license? Why not just leave it under the category of lodging and why have them if we're going to be advertising places that don't even do weddings, that don't have licenses? It's just, there's something, anyway.
Wouldn't that be up to
Okay.
CAPC to
Is
take
that-
them out?
Okay, never mind.
And then the next one was, go ahead and bring Dick's dog waste proposal up for discussion.
Dog poop ordinance.
I don't understand.
That's it.
I'll second the dog.
You second the dog?
Yeah, I don't know about the first one, though.
Who's,
It's your
who
duty.
seconded the wedding license discussion?
Duty.
Okay, what do we do with that?
All right. Who seconded
So
this?
you want to get rid of the whole license?
Ms. Snyder?
Okay, I'll second it.
Did you second? Did you second?
She snickered.
Yes.
She did.
Okay. Did you second the wedding license issue?
Well, that's what I was checking. I won't be
Okay.
here, but I'll second the license for him.
Okay. That's all I need, just a second. Get it on
We
the
can at least get it
on the
started.
agenda. Okay, Mr. Purkeypile is out. Ms. Snyder, go ahead.
Okay, I would like to add an extremely short discussion of a proposal I have in regards to the Bricks property on the 24th. I won't be here next time, so on the 24th. And I believe for the next meeting, we need to add the reimbursement for water cleanup for Susie Allen.
Go with one at a time. I'll do the first one on for the 24th.
Okay.
Your proposal. Second.
Okay. Okay, and then the reimbursement for Susie Allen.
Yeah, I'll second that if you need a second.
Okay, and that one can be the 10th.
Anything else?
Nope,
Ms. Zeller?
I hope not.
What, was there something you wanted?
He just picked it up.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, never mind. Okay, no, don't have anything then.
City Council comments, Mr. DeVito.
No comment.
Mr. McClung.
No comment.
Mr. Mitchell.
Yes, sir, I do. It seemed like the last time when I gave an update on the noise committee, it seemed like my microphone was off and I got pointed out. So I wanted to do a very, very brief update on the noise committee. We met the other day and we actually have a draft ordinance that has it started. Again, the issue on the noise committee, I want to be very specific about, because I know it started and everybody felt that it was there was a lot of targeting of a specific segment of the tourism industry. And while that may have been floating around and going on before the noise committee started, as soon as the noise committee met and we developed a committee with about 8 members of a very diverse group representing the city, we moved rapidly onto the discussion of noise in general, not specific to one segment of the population. So Al Frost from the police department, Fatima Tour from Pied Piper, Mark Hughes, myself, Krista Kendricks, the attorney, Steve Beecham, and Mike Bishop from the chairman have been meeting and have come up with a pretty good draft, I think, that discusses the topic of noise and its impact on the visitors and the residents of Eureka Springs. We will be hopefully holding a meeting soon where the public will be invited to come in and to take a look at the ordinance and give us any feedback. We're approaching this on three different avenues. We're looking at an ordinance, and this one happens to be an addendum to the current noise ordinance that's already in effect. We're looking at the issue of enforcement, and I want to give a shout out to Al Frost from the police department. His input in this process has been fantastic, and the topic of enforcement has been wonderful. And then the last one and the most important has been the issue of communication or marketing. We have no intention of allowing the noise ordinance of this city to turn into the tour bus fiasco. So I would ask the public out there who may have their own personal agendas and their own personal targets about any segment to just back off and allow the noise committee to do its work. Thank you.
Ms. Snyder.
I just wanted to say the first Mardi Gras parade Saturday night was awesome, short but sweet. It was very, very pretty. And say happy anniversary to Maria and Chigger, 34 years and counting. Woo! All done.
Ms. Zeller.
I don't have any comment.
Okay. I just basically have some advance to read to you. Workshop Wednesday the 26th, February the 26th at 9 o'clock. Clean City, followed by Water Sewer Workshop for the council and the press. Yeah. February 27th, the Hookers and Jokers Ball. On the 28th is the Coronation Ball. March the 1st, Eureka Gras Parade at 2 p.m. and Bow Arts Ball at 7 p.m. March the 9th through the 10th, we have talent. We've got talent program at the auditorium. Anything else anybody can think of? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're out of here.
What time are we getting?